We are running ahead of schedule, which has got to be a first for a virtual event, but we're going to take it in stride and roll right into our panel with our founders from the past few presentations. I'll just repeat them through so everyone's on the same page. We'll have Mark with Interplay. I believe we'll have Joe joining us from GuardNox and Steve from Cibros, and then we'll have Jeremy and Corey from Alert. So let's go ahead and have you all unmute yourselves and share your cameras, and we can get going on just some conversations, some updates, learn more about what you all are up to. Just keep in mind the theme we sort of have here is around the notion that you're all building businesses that are in kind of potential new areas for business and revenue for the automotive industry. So whether that be the connected vehicle, last mile delivery, cybersecurity, I think these are all areas that OEMs are really actively looking to get into. So I was hoping we could maybe chat about that. Awesome. Hey, Joe, how's it going? Hey, Mark.
Hello. Hey, Mark, I can't show my video. This is Jeremy, the host.
No worries, Jeremy. We'll have you join by voice, and if you can sort it out.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Sweet. And I think.
Yeah, I have the same problem. I can't share my video. This is Steve, but that's okay.
Gotcha. No worries. Hey, Steve. Excellent. Well, yeah, as I mentioned, I think, hey, we got you going. Cool. Yeah, as I mentioned, I think the purpose of running this accelerator is obviously to bring new technology and kind of highlight new technologies in the automotive and mobility space. But I was trying to group some of these conversations together, and it really struck me that you're all working on various, software and hardware related innovations that can bring, I guess, like new business and revenue to automotive OEMs, right? Whether they be providing over the air updates or kind of getting into the last mile delivery space. And I'm wondering, what, if that has led you to kind of shape your conversations with automotive players in a different way, or kind of approach, how you're interacting with the automotive stakeholders in a different way than other founders might.
You want me to answer that, Mark? This is Steve.
Go for it.
Yeah, no. So, I think about OEMs, and when we talk to them, they aspire to create a broader ecosystem, right? It's mobility as a service, and how do we expand their offering to get into things like fuel as a service? And so one of our products is the Deep Logger product, and that allows you to quickly get access to vehicle data. That's important for, I'll call it lean innovation, right? OEMs spend years trying to figure out what new products they want to put in the market and spend years trying to develop it. In this world of connected vehicle data, having this access to the data and actually being able to supply it to third parties, you can allow innovation to take place very quickly, very fast. So OEMs can work with third parties or do the work internally and mature the customer experience and even the business model. So it's a very low cost way of building new services around what they want to do without years of planning, going fast, and being more of a California startup than what is known as a traditional engineering, a traditional OEM that spends years in product planning before they produce a vehicle. So it's refreshing. It's that new mindset that's coming into even the traditional OEMs, and so they're talking to us a lot about our ability to extract that type of information. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I think anyone want to touch on that in a similar way? Like, how do you keep that speed, that kind of swiftness of collaboration with automotive partners?
Sure. So at Interplay, we've had the opportunity to partner with some automotive suppliers, as well as to have some very good discussions with some automotive OEMs. And but one of the things that we focus on is providing different mobility services and technologies that enable services. This has been very attractive, I think, to the automotive industry, which has really been focused on pushing metal kind of out the door. And now to start thinking about, say, services, and especially when they're related to mobility and delivery, it's a new area. So this provided new opportunities for us to engage and have discussions and learn together in terms of how some of these new technologies will work together, especially when it comes to, say, performing things like automated delivery, and how does that work with, say, all these new technologies with reconfigurable vehicles and automated driving. So One of the challenges that we've had is making sure that we talk to the right people and that we're aligned in terms of what each can get out of the conversation. And we've been lucky that with our particular solution, which does have a really strong software component, which has allowed us to engage with customers right now, we've been able to learn an awful lot from customers who are doing delivery. And that has been very valuable when we've turned around and had a conversation with our automotive partners.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think this is I was just saying this is a big topic, so I'm gonna give everyone time to chat about it.
Yeah, so just one thing to add to Steve's comment about it being refreshing, and it's not just here in the US. So GuardNox is engaging in the US, Europe, a little bit in Asia. And it seems like all the OEMs, other than maybe one or two who have already gotten a head start on the new connected mobility landscape and feel they're in a good place, they still talk to us, but they've said, okay, thanks for your input. We've already got our own thing going, but 85% of the rest are very open to this. We really need to collaborate. We need to collaborate across this space because not any one company can do all of this stuff themselves. Even the behemoths, even the big ones, are admitting that they need that the key here to getting everyone to market quicker, safely, reliably, and done correctly is this cross collaboration among tier ones, tier twos, even, and the OEMs, and that is refreshing. I'm a 20+ year veteran, not to age myself here, and this is the first time I've seen this kind of open-mindedness. It's taking shape in the last couple of years, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, and I think from Haas Alert's perspective, one of the exciting things is that we sit at the intersection of connected services, safety, and technology, which are probably the three most compelling value propositions and selling points that automotive OEMs globally are marketing today and into the future, right? I mean, safety and technology have for a decade plus have been like the number one and number two selling features. So the attractiveness of what we're bringing to the OEMs and their suppliers, it aligns perfectly with what they're trying to do from a business standpoint. And then combined with the fact that, we're not requiring, hardware changes to the vehicle. We're leveraging existing capabilities they have today. So the cycle time to get something from a POC into market is significantly reduced, right? We don't have to wait for the next model year change, which is happening, 3 to 5 years out. And some of the project work we're doing today is really on an accelerated path to from concept to into production, in a 12 to 18 month time frame.
Awesome. And I think, maybe something that might be interesting to folks in the audience, whether they be founders or with, kind of other players in the ecosystem in the automotive space. And I'm sure I'll come to this question again with other panels, but, I think you all have had successful engagements with automotive partners, whether they be Borg Warner and others, I think we were mentioning in the presentations. How, like, through the pandemic, obviously this seems to be the status quo now. How have you been able to maneuver those relationships or kind of continue that speed and that pace of collaboration despite everything being virtual?
This is Steve. I'll start really quick. We haven't lost a beat when it comes to what's going on with the pandemic and most people working from home. In fact, we're accelerating our global presence. We've opened up offices across the globe and we're reaching customers all over the globe too. And it's becoming the norm to do video conferencing. So we're probably more effective in reaching out and talking to every one of our customers because it's become the norm. And so as a smaller company, we just don't have the footprint of people, but myself and my partner that kind of manages a lot of the customer interactions and engagements, we've been able to get to a lot of different customers very quickly. So as long as you're willing to not sleep and accommodate other people's time zones, you can be pretty effective in getting your message out and engaging with customers.
Yeah, I think it's helped.
not
The whole like
sleeping.
the whole remote thing with the pandemic has actually enabled us just to move a little quicker, right? We don't have to wait for everyone's schedule to be available to, for half a day where we can all meet in person, right? We can carve out 1 hour chunks of time, which is which has been great.
My only counterpoint to that being, so I started out in engineering, hardcore, controls guy at Ford, and then later moved to Bosch, and now I'm with a startup. But for the last 15 years, I had sold my soul to the sales and business development side. And I agree that there's more effectiveness here in terms of scheduling, that no longer do you have to factor in travel time, for example, to go to a meeting. But it's a bittersweet double-edged sword for me. I'm a sales guy. I like to be in front of someone. I like to be face-to-face talking, patting them on the back, shaking their hand, saying, all right, well, let's go do this. And there's just, we're lacking that right now. I think it's going to be coming back over the next few months. We're already seeing some things thaw, but I don't want to be the last bastion of hope saying, no, we're not going to get rid of the way we used to do business. Please, let's just do a hybrid model where we do a lot more calls and video calls and things, but let's keep the human interaction part of it there as long as we can as well. Because, I don't want to be 2 steps away from all becoming strictly dependent only on video, because I think the relationships are a little different when they're done in person. Not trying to bring everyone down, just a cautionary note.
Totally
And
fair.
perhaps one more thing to add is that with Interplay, we have a software side, a hardware side. And so hardware is definitely more challenging to do remotely, and especially when you're collaborating with others. And so we've already had a strategy in terms of bringing software first and discussing that. So things kind of aligned anyway for us. And software is a lot easier to do in a collaborative manner, in a distributed environment, and meeting with customers and your team and things of that nature. So things kind of worked out for us in that manner.
Definitely. No, I think these are all hopeful notes. And Joseph, who knows, maybe you'll get a pat on the back feature for Zoom here. It'll be a little button you can push and give someone a pat on the back. We'll see how that pans out. But no, I think with those kind of uplifting notions that the pandemic hasn't been all that bad, certainly on the business side, I think we will move on to more startup presentations. But I want to give a big thank you to all of you for being part of this over the last few months, and for joining us here today live. It's been awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Wonderful.
Great.